Alexis, another trans woman. She has since quit this company. I mean, there's a lot of hopping between companies for the trans women, right?
I've seen that truck.
It's very identifiable. She's really proud of it. Yeah. Yeah, but there's a lot of hopping between companies because the reason that trans women go into trucking is because they can get hired because, first of all, there's work, right? But also you get hired by phone so they don't see you. They just hear your voice. But then when you show up, various things happen. I mean, there can be companies that are fine with it. There can be companies that are like, just don't let anything show when you're at work and we'll be okay. And then there are companies that just kind of don't give you freight. You know, makes life difficult. So then you wind up jumping from company to company. And then, because of our morning's conversation, there are plenty of TGirls who sign lease agreements. One of them was probably the second most traumatizing trucker that I talked to, she was 34 years old, had signed a lease contract with Swift, and wound up getting negative settlements month after month after week after week after month after month. And the company routinely wouldn't get her back for hormone appointments. And she was on hormones prior to getting SRS, wasn't ready for the SRS yet, but at 34 years old, without the hormones, was in a condition of perpetual puberty. So, like, remember 7th grade?
Oh, gee.
Yeah. Imagine being stuck there in a truck on the road forever. So they would, and it was really retaliatory. They would send her down to Texas. She's from Portland. They'd send her down to Texas, leave her there for 3-4 days, kind of dick her around, send her here, send her there, a little short months, starve her out, and you know, loan her $100 a week to pay for food, and that doesn't, you know, pay for food, and it was a high interest loan anyway. So there was this sort of endless, deeper and deeper in trouble. And lacking the hormones, she'd have panic attacks. And sometimes during panic attacks, one time having a panic attack, she pulled over but forgot to hit the trailer brake and rolled and had a, you know, obviously slow-mo accident, but that, you know, pulled her trucking repair for a long time, so didn't get paid for that, and, you know, endless, worse and worse and worse situation happening to her. She has left trucking since I talked to her, which is good, though left owing Swift, you know, tons of money, so we'll never again be hired by anyone to drive anything, because they'll all say you owe Swift on at least like yeah, exactly.
Which is illegal.
Yeah, so you know, what's someone like that gonna do? We know what someone like that is gonna do. Has no home, right? Because while out getting into debt, lost her apartment, moved all her crap into a storage unit, lost the storage unit, lost everything, lost all her friends, because in the whole time that she was making no money, she would only show up 2 or 3 days a year. And you can't keep friends if you're doing that. Like, they love you and stuff, but they just kind of forget about you. You just kind of fade into the back of their mind. So, lost any contact with friends. One of the weird things about doing this oral history work is I have these conversations with these people, right? And I get to know them, and I spend a lot of time with them, and I kind of get absorbed into their mental way of being. And then I go back to this snotty 4-year liberal arts college where I teach, and I'm just like, who are you? What am I doing teaching you? It's a really strange experience, kind of crossing over into those two worlds. But this is a person who has since left this and gone to a different trucking company, and the amount of, especially TGirls, but also trans men who I interview a lot of, and I interviewed 10 intersex truckers, right? The first time one of them called me and said, you know, I'm intersex, I want to talk to you, but I'm kind of uncomfortable because I think you might like sensationalize my body and my experience, and I hate it when people do that. And you know, I just kind of talked her through it. We had long conversations over the period of a few months, and then she called me up one day and said, all right, I'm ready, let's do this. We talked for, you know, we met some days later, talked for a few hours, fine. It was an amazing interview, an amazing person. And then 9 more called me. 9. And I was just shocked every time that it happened. And I think that there's got to be a connection between, as a kid, feeling like you don't fit anywhere, neither of the genders wants you, you're sort of never quite at home anywhere, that kind of fits mentally with being a trucker and being endlessly unanchored, right? Wandering. Because that happened to you. One of the last intersex truckers that I interviewed was raised Jehovah's Witness. So, had never seen a naked person, right? Like Jehovah's Witnesses, I don't know how that culture works, but it's pretty uptight. So she'd never seen a naked person, and apparently never seen TV. And it was in 7th grade health that she saw pictures of a naked person, and she sort of went, no, not really. And went home and said to her mom, like, what's up with my body? And her mom was like, oh, this happened. The doctor said to not tell you because that would upset you. And like that kind of experience of feeling alien to yourself and to your world, one of the things that it does is makes you comfortable being a trucker and never landing anywhere and finding that kind of anchor. Let's look at another. Some of them had amazing and intense stories. This is a trucker who I talked to for any number of hours in Gary about the experience of always feeling like she wanted to be a trucker but had 3 kids and felt all this like responsibility to stay home and take care of them and be the kind of mom that you're supposed to be and be there for them. And then finally when the youngest was like 5, just being like, no, I ought to do this. So has been over the road ever since then. And the kids are fine, right? They're responsible, they take care of themselves, they take care of each other, they call her when they need anything. But the feeling of being like, having all of these expectations put on you and then trying to figure out when it's time for you to get what you want and how to do that. One more. And this is just your garden variety lesbian, right? She has a funny story though. She was an art teacher forever in public school and was like, this job, it just doesn't, it's a hard job to have as a lesbian because you have parents and they complain and the students complain and it's a really hard job to have as an out lesbian. It's not an easy, like, the EOC does not protect you if you're a lesbian, it only protects gender, race, religion. It does not protect sexual orientation. It depends on the state. So it's just really hard to feel safe in any kind of job. She lives in Arizona. So left and became a trucker as a way of kind of escaping the way that society makes it really hard to be a visible out lesbian in any other job. But, and this is when I'm going to segue to the main point of my book, which is the regulations are insane, right? The amount of regulations. So she'd been a school teacher, she went to be a trucker, and she was just like, I thought I was going to be free. I thought I was going to have like independence, the open road. I've never been so regulated in my entire life. They tell me when to pee, where, when to buy gas where, when to sleep, how to do it. I have to fill out all these forms. So she had this tirade at me for hours about the many ways in which she was regulated and how that felt and how it limited her and made her tired and angry all the time. And what it means to be a truck driver who is perpetually exhausted and perpetually pissed off and driving in public spaces on roads and what that means and how that works. So she had a lot of stories about that. She ultimately quit trucking because of the regulations. Just hated it. Quit trucking, went back to the school system, figured that that was like a better situation than what she was experiencing in the school system. Okay, do we have one more? Yeah, this is, so remember when Desiree talked on the first day and said, lots of people want to write about trucking, but it's really hard to try to describe it to a non-trucker audience in a way that makes any kind of sense. And when she said that, I was like, there are so many parts of the daily schedule, the weekly schedule, the run schedule, the legislative structure that, so what I've done is have the stories of 64 people. I know what I'm doing with the personal particular stories, right? But anybody who reads it who isn't a trucker is like, wait, I don't understand. Why did they start driving in at that moment? What does this mean? There needs to be a way that I can also step back and say, in a few kind of graphic, short ways, this is what the schedule is, this is what the structure is, so that people who are not truckers reading it can make sense of what it is that I'm trying to say. So I have two things. One of them exists in 3 pieces of paper that I will give to anyone who's remotely willing to look at it, because like I said, I love stories, and I love when people tell me stories, and I get all absorbed in their stories, and I will relate their stories to the general public, and it will be great. But the big picture, I just get it wrong a lot of times. So having truckers look at my understanding of the big picture and trying to explain to me what it is I don't understand or what it is that I could say more clearly. So this slide, for example, here's a driver. Look, the graphic artist tried to make it androgynous, whatever. These are the things that the driver has to kind of try to balance all the time.